All right, everyone, back at the lake. We start out playing six-handed. Here I look down at ace, queen, queen, five, single suited in the cutoff. Hijack makes it 20. I call and both the blinds call. So we're going four ways to a flop. Flop comes queen, jack, four with two hearts. Checks to the original raiser who bet 75. I call and both the blinds fold. So we're going heads up to a turn. The turn brings a five of hearts, bringing in the front door flush. My opponent checks to me. I bet 75. He then min raises to 150 and I make the call. So we're going heads up to a river. River brings another jack. My opponent now pushes. I, of course, call. I turn over my hand and he looks pretty disgusted and mucks his hand. He said he had a flush as well as a jack, so we're going to take it down here. Here I look down at ace, king, jack, 8, single suited in the small blind. There's an early position limp. I make it 15. The big blind then 3 bets to 50. Limper folds and I make the call, so we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes jack 10 8 rainbow. I check. My opponent only has about 250 left. He bets 105, and here don't really block any of the straights obviously, but this is a very loose player. Never going to be dead here, with two pair plus obviously having the nut draw with the queen. So I just decided to put him all in and he quickly makes the call. So we're going heads up to 2 runouts. First runout brings a 7 on the turn and a 3 on the river. Second runout brings a 10 on the turn and a 4 on the river. So I miss everything twice and he turns over ace, queen, queen, 9. So he did indeed flop the straight and he's going to take it down here. Here look down at ace, jack, 10, 5, double suited in the cutoff. The button posted 5 for missing his blind, so folds to me, I open at 25. Button calls, folds over to the big blind who makes it 110. Now six-handed, I think this hand goes up in value. Obviously full ring, I would probably be more likely to fold it, but I make the call and the button makes the call, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes 10, 8, 8 with 2 hearts. The big blind pots it and I fold. Here look down at ace, ace, 9, 5, double suited in the big blind. Under the gun limps. Next player makes it 20. Folds to me. I make it 70. Under the gun then calls. Back to the original raiser who makes it 300. Back to me. I, of course, push and both players call. So we're going 3 ways to a run out. Flop comes pretty good for us in jack 3-3 with 2 hearts. The turn brings in the backdoor flush draw with a 5 of spades. River brings a 2 of spades, completing the backdoor flush. Me and the original raiser have a side pot. He goes ahead and mucks, so I win the $400 side pot, but the under the gun player turns over ace, queen, 10, 5 with the nut spades, so he's going to take down the main pot here. Here look down at queen, 10, 9, 8, double suited under the gun in a straddled pot. I open a 40. Next player calls over to the button who 3 bets to 180. Folds to me, I make the call and the other player calls. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes king 9-9 rainbow. I push, the other player folds over to the original raiser who also folds. So we take it down here. In this hand we're playing 8-handed and we decide to put some blind raises on. So we're playing 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, me in the cutoff, and the button makes it 35. Over to an early position player who makes it 40. 2 callers to me, I call, then the button decides to pot it for 270. 2 callers to me and I also call. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes king 8-2 with 2 diamonds. Checks over to me, I push, and the original raiser also pushes over the top and everyone else gets out of the way. We decided to run it twice, so we're going to 2 runouts here. First runout brings a 7 of hearts on the top, bringing in the backdoor flush draw. River brings a 3 of hearts, completing the backdoor flush. Second turn brings a king of spades. Second river brings a 9 of diamonds. And I turn over my hand, then my opponent turns over his. He has king, queen, 10, 2. So he flopped 2 pair and he's going to take down the entire pot here. So the previous hand was about 4 hours into the session. This is about an hour after that. I look down at 8-7, 6-5, double suited in the small blind. There's an under the gun limp over to the hijack who makes it 25. Cutoff then 3 bets to 90. Folds to me. And here if I'm up against aces, which is kind of what I'm putting my opponent here on, I have a pretty good hand that's going to play well against that. So I just decided to go with it and reshove over to the hijack who pushes all in as well. And the cutoff does the same thing. So we're going 3 ways to a run out. Flop comes out 10-8-5 with 2 clubs. Turn brings a king of hearts, bringing in the backdoor flush draw. River looks to be a pretty clean card for us and a 2 of spades. I didn't get the hijack's hand on video, but he had ace 7, 6, 5. And the cutoff had the ace, ace, jack 10 single suited. So he wins the side pot and we're going to take down the main pot here. Very excited to announce that I'm going to be hosting my first ever meetup game. It's actually Hustler's first ever PLO meetup game. Next month, Saturday, September 24th from 1 to 7. I actually had them lower the blinds and the buy-ins as well. It's going to be a $1, $2 with a $5 bring-in game. Buy-ins from $100 to $500. And I'll probably be there a little bit early as well to meet everyone and give anyone a basic PLO lesson that wants it. You can sign up on the PokerAtlas app. If you go to the cash game section of Hustler Casino, you scroll all the way down to the bottom and you'll see the DonkFishPoker meetup game. So definitely sign up on there, and I'm excited to meet and play with a lot of you guys there. So I go card dead for 2 hours after that 8-7-6-5 hand until I look down at ace-9-7-6 double suited in the small blind in a straddled pot. Middle position player rebought for $100. He makes it 50 after one limper, and I just decide to raise to isolate him to 170. And player to my left does not really enjoy folding, so he calls and the short stack calls. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes Queen Jack 3 rainbow. Not really much of a point here to bet, even though there is a small side pot between me and the player to my left. So I check and he checks back. So still going 3 ways to a turn. Turn brings a 10, I check again and my opponent checks back. So still 3 ways to a river. River brings another 10, I just check to give up and my opponent checks back. He turns over ace-8, 8-4 with 3 hearts, so he's going to win the side pot, and the short stack turns over queen jack 8-7, so he's going to win the main pot here. Shortly after the previous hand, I look down at ace-ace 5-5 double suited in the big blind in a straddled pot. There are a couple limpers, folds to me, I make it 65, and there are 2 callers, so we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes 8-7-6 with 2 diamonds, I check. Player to my left bets 100, late position then min raises to 200. I of course fold, and player to my left then goes ahead and repops it, and the other player folds. The player to my left ended up turning over 10-9-6-3, so the run good for him continues, and he's going to take it down here. Here look down at ace king jack 2 double suited in the cutoff in a straddled pot. There are a couple limpers, I make it 55. Player to my left, as he does every hand I raise, makes the call. Over to one of the early position limpers who makes it 110. I call and the player to my left calls. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes 10-9-7 with 2 diamonds. The early position 3-better checks to me, and at this point I'm kind of frustrated with the session. Hasn't really gone my way. Here I flopped enough to go with it. So I push, and surprisingly both opponents fold. So we take it down here. Early after the previous hand, I look down at ace-ace 6-3 single suited under the gun. I open a 20. Next player makes the call. Over to one of the later position players who 3-bets to 60. Folds to me. I then re-raise to 210. The player to my left folds and the late position player calls. So we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes Jack 6 rainbow, and with the SPR under 1, I just decide to go with it and push, and my opponent quickly calls. So not really a great sign, but we're going heads up to a run out. Turn brings a 7 of hearts, bringing the backdoor flush draw. River brings in the 4 of hearts for the backdoor flush, and my opponent turns over queen jack 9-8, so he flop trips and rivered the flush, so he's going to take it down here. So obviously it's easier to know what to do after you see the opponent's hand, but in that situation on that flop there with ace-ace 6-3 with the SPR under 1, basically a pot size bet left, do you go ahead and push it like I did, or do you basically check? As jacks are going to be a very likely card in your opponent's range. Let me know down below. What's up guys, Wayne back here with you. So today I was in for 1200, out for 0. Pretty frustrating session. Game was really good. Player to my left was really action player. Really just couldn't beat him in any big spot. He won a couple 2K pots off me, and really the guy was just running amazing all day. He basically didn't lose a pot to anyone. With some card dead mixed in, but I played for about 7.5 hours and I felt pretty good doing it. So sometimes just doesn't happen. So if you guys haven't seen the previous episode, I'll link it up here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.